So we have one more section for chapter 7 that we didn't get to in time to have the test on Wednesday. So that is the lesson that you guys are going to learn today. And the good thing about it is all it does is take everything you've learned already and apply it to one problem where you have to kind of reason through yourself and figure out what strategies and what formulas and what methods are going to help you solve the problem. The hard thing about it is I can't script for you how to do it every time. So you really have to be a good problem solver, critical thinker, and really understand what we've learned so far in order to do this successfully. So I have 4 examples that we're going to go through here. I'm going to do 2 on one video and then 2 on another. There's 2 different types of problems that you might see, but the end goal is always to solve the right triangle, which means find all of the missing pieces. So you need 3 angles and you need 3 sides when you are finished. So the number one thing that the number one tip I have for you is whatever you have 2 of, find the 3rd one. So if you look and see, I'm starting with 1 side. I don't know the other 2. And I'm starting with 2 angles. So I'm gonna go ahead and find that 3rd angle. Hopefully, if you think about it, the way I find my 3rd angle is just subtract from 180. I can take 180 minus 90 minus 65, and I get 25 degrees. So I'm already done. The easiest thing to do is find that second, whatever you have 2 of, find that 3rd, and it's a really easy way to earn points and know that you got an answer correct to start out. The second step is always going to be the hardest. So if you look at this, I now have 3 angles and I need to find a missing side. I'm gonna find KM first. Let me just call it X, just so we know we're all looking at the same angle. I'm gonna call that X. If you think about what strategies you can use to find that side, I can't use Pythagorean theorem because I don't have 2 sides. I can't use special right triangles because I don't have my special angles that help me do that. So I have to use a trig function. But now here's a place where it gets tough because if some of us use 25 degrees as our angle, our trig function is going to look different than those of us that use 65 as our angle. But you can use either. So my recommendation is always use the pieces that they give you. That way you know they're correct. Maybe you had a calculator error and this number's wrong, then you're definitely going to get your next answer wrong. So always stick with the numbers that they give you. You don't have to, but that's just if you're not quite sure about it yourself, that's a strategy I would recommend. So I'm going to use 65. I'm going to use X, and I'm going to use 10 to make my trig function. In relation to 65, I have my hypotenuse right here, I have my opposite right here, and I have my adjacent right here. So if we're looking at what I have adjacent and hypotenuse, so I'm going to use cosine. My angle goes next, and then adjacent over hypotenuse is 10 over X. If you're someone that gets really confused with having too many numbers and drawings inside of a picture, you can always redraw the triangle with just the stuff you're looking at. I can always draw maybe a mini picture over here that has 65, has 10, and has X. And maybe that'll make it a little bit more clear to figure out which trig function you're using. Hopefully everyone remembers to solve something that looks like this. I'm just switching these 2. So X equals 10 over, or divided by, cosine 65. In order to get the right answer, your calculator needs to be in degree mode. And you should get an answer of about 23.66. And we'll go to 2 decimal places just to be a little bit more exact here. 23.66. Now, if you're someone that does not like trig functions, the good news is in each of these problems, you only ever need to use trig once. Because now that I have 2 side lengths, I have 10 here, I have 23.66 here, I can use Pythagorean theorem to find my last one. So I can say 10 squared plus, I'll just call this y for now, y squared equals 23.66 squared. If you like trig functions, you are welcome to use 65 again or use 25 again, whichever angle you would like. And this time, let's say I use 65, instead of using adjacent and hypotenuse, I already found this one, I would use adjacent and opposite. So I would use tangent. So there's no scripted way that you have to solve this. It's up to you to just reason through it. As long as you get the right answers, I don't care. So then to solve this, I'm going to take 23.66 squared minus 10 squared and take the square root of that. And we should get an answer of 21.44. So I think the interesting thing about this section is some of you guys would be able to solve this without me even telling you, just because you feel confident about these and you can look at it and sort through all the numbers and all the pieces that are missing. Some people actually even completed this part of the test just for fun because you had extra time. So we're gonna have that side, and then we're also gonna have the people that are just really thrown off by all of these numbers and there's just a lot going on. So either way, no matter which side you're on, it's okay. But it's really important that you try to understand, especially I know I'm not there, but try to understand, try to do the practice, ask a neighbor for help if you really need help. All right, let's bump down to the next one, but I wanna actually go down because this is just like the way, or the pieces you were given in the first one. So if you look at this one, I'm starting with degrees of 57, 90, and 15. And I'm gonna go a little faster on this one. So I have two angles, I'm gonna find the third. 180 minus 90 minus 57 is 33. So I know that last angle is 33 degrees, I'm done with that. Now to move on to my trig function, I'm gonna go ahead and use this 57, because again, I know it's right, so I'm gonna use the angle that I know is accurate. I'm gonna find EF first, so I'm just gonna call that X, and I'm gonna use 15. So those are the three pieces that I'm using. If I identify my opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse, here's my angle, here's my opposite, here's my adjacent. So I'm gonna use a tangent. So I have tangent of 57 equals 15 over X. I'm gonna take these two and flip them. So X equals 15 over tan 57. And I get about 9.74. If at any point you wanna pause and go back and re-watch some of this, you can. I'm just going faster because I know some of you know what to do, and also my video limit is 8 minutes on YouTube. So 9.74. Once I have two sides, I have 15, I have 9.74, I can go ahead and find that last side. So I'm gonna take 15 squared plus 9.74 squared equals y squared. Take the square root of that, and I get about 17.88. If you did it correctly, it should look like that. So I got an answer of 33, 9.74, 17.88. In the next video, we're gonna move on to the last two examples where instead of starting with two angles, I'm starting with two sides.